You made it this far, and now there is one final layer that almost nobody talks about because it is not exciting, it is not dramatic, and it cannot be sold as a quick fix. But it is the quiet difference between people who stay stuck in cycles for years and people whose lives slowly but permanently change. It is this. Happy people do not just build good habits, they remove hidden friction from their lives. Here is what that means. Most people think their problem is lack of motivation. They say things like, "I know what I should do, I just don't feel like doing it." But research in behavioral science shows that motivation is wildly unreliable. It goes up and down based on sleep, stress, environment, and even what you ate that day. What actually drives behavior long-term is not motivation. It is friction. Friction is anything that makes a behavior harder to start. And here is the part most people miss. You are not failing because you are weak. You are failing because your environment is quietly set up in a way that makes the wrong things easy and the right things hard. Your phone is within reach, so you scroll. Your notifications are on, so your attention gets pulled. The easiest option becomes the default option. Happy people, often without realizing it, reverse this. They make the good habits easier and the draining habits slightly harder. Not impossible, just inconvenient enough to interrupt the automatic pattern. A study from Stanford University's Behavior Design Lab found that even tiny increases in friction, like moving an app off your home screen or putting your phone in another room, can dramatically reduce how often you engage in that behavior. Not because your willpower improved, but because the loop got interrupted. So your action today, pick one habit you want less of and add one small layer of friction to it. That is it. Now here is where this connects to something deeper. Because once you reduce friction, something interesting happens. You start keeping small promises to yourself. And that changes how you see yourself in a way that is hard to explain until you feel it. Habit number 7. They build self-trust by doing small things they said they would do. Most people think confidence comes from big wins. Getting the job, achieving the goal, proving something to the world. But confidence at its core is much simpler than that. It is the feeling that you can rely on yourself. And that feeling is built in very small moments. You say you will wake up and not check your phone for 10 minutes, and you do it. You say you will write 3 things you finished, and you do it. You say you will let go of one useless thought, and you actually let it go. These moments seem insignificant, but your brain is always watching. It is constantly updating a quiet belief about you. Do I follow through, or do I not? Psychologists refer to this as self-efficacy, your belief in your own ability to execute actions. And it turns out this belief is one of the strongest predictors of long-term success and well-being. Not talent, not intelligence. Belief built through evidence. Every time you follow through on something small, you give your brain a piece of evidence. And over time, that evidence stacks. You do not need to convince yourself you are capable. You show yourself. Your action today, choose one promise so small you cannot fail it. Something almost too easy. And keep it. Now, there is one more shift that quietly ties all of this together, and it changes how you experience your entire life. Because up until now, we have been talking about habits you do. But this last one is about how you see. Habit number 8. They stop measuring their life against other people's highlight reels. You live in a time where you are constantly exposed to curated versions of other people's lives. Their best moments, filtered, edited, and presented without context. And your brain, without asking your permission, compares your behind the scenes to their highlight reel. This is not a personal failure. This is a cognitive bias. Social comparison is built into the human brain. But here is what happy people have learned to do. They interrupt the comparison before it defines how they feel. They remind themselves, sometimes consciously, sometimes automatically, that they are not seeing the full picture. That every person they compare themselves to also has doubts, bad days, unfinished goals, and struggles that are simply not visible. Research from the University of Pennsylvania found that reducing social media use even slightly led to significant decreases in loneliness and depression. Not because people's lives changed, but because the comparison loop weakened. Your action today, Notice one moment when you compare yourself to someone else and gently interrupt it. Just notice. That is enough to begin. Now, step back for a second and look at everything together. You protect your mornings. You track your progress. You guard your mental energy. You practice gratitude deliberately. You share good moments. You trust delayed change. You reduce friction. You build self-trust. You interrupt comparison. None of these are extreme. None of these require a completely different life. But together, they create something powerful. They create momentum. And momentum is what most people are actually missing. Because once you have momentum, everything feels easier. Not because life stopped being hard, but because you are no longer pushing against yourself every day. You are moving with yourself. And that is a completely different experience. So if you take anything from this, let it be this. You are not one big change away from a better life. You are a few small, repeated choices away. Choices that seem too simple to matter, but over time, matter more than almost anything else. Do not wait to feel ready. Do not wait for the perfect moment. Start with one small action today. Then do it again tomorrow. And let the change catch up with you.